Hey, dear ones. It's me, Mimi. I'm back to reality. No beautiful backdrop tonight. I already missed it a lot. Seemed easier down there. That beautiful water. But I have to press on. Today's been a strange day. I guess because of the topic of this video. And I suggest that if you have little ones around, that you go somewhere where they can't hear you. Sadly, there's little ones around out there all over the place that are going through what I'm about to tell you. I can never remember where I left off. I just tried to let God be God and use me and help me to say what I need to say. But tonight, all of them are tough, don't get me wrong. But tonight, I'm about to share something, maybe some things that I've never shared in one of my live ministry presentations with people. Not too many people, maybe 5. I don't even know if that many know. But I brought something for you tonight, just in case. That's for y'all. This is for me. As I was talking about in the last video, the horrific abuse never ceased, never stopped. But she was starting to get her belly full after years and years. And I remember them getting their first home in Denver, on Sheridan Boulevard in Denver. And I believe I was 4 or 5. I've been pondering it. If y'all knew the hours that I stay up. On that note, if y'all are missing little small objects, they might be in the bags under my eyes. Who knows? I'm not here to be anything but me, y'all. Maybe one day I'll put makeup on. Maybe one day my beautiful daughter will do one of those really cool messy buns, as they call them. And don't get me wrong, I love to look nice. It just seems like I never have the time. Very busy, especially with a second generation raising babies. Can you tell I'm trying to skirt around the actual subject matter here? I'm procrastinating. But I think about and rehearse, and it never, ever, ever, ever comes out the way I rehearse, which is Jesus. Because if I said it or did it in my flesh, it would never work. Every presentation, I would lose sleep. I would stress. I'd about make myself sick. Practicing, rehearsing, and it never, ever, ever, ever turned out like I had rehearsed, because it's not about me. It's about the people that are listening. And on that, I thank and praise God for those that have been so encouraging. The kind words. Thank you to my daughter for encouraging me and telling me that she's proud of me. She'll learn things about me that she probably don't even know. But I was either about 4 or 5. And I was alone with somebody that I had no reason not to trust. And it was just me and that person. That person was a female. And the next thing I know, we didn't have any clothes on. And she did things to me that, of course, I couldn't comprehend. But I was the little girl. I just did what I was told to do. And the things that she did to me, in turn, I was told to do to her. Crazy as it is, I remember it like it was yesterday. I mean, it's like I tell Braxton and Georgia, and I'm very protective. Some say militant, about what goes in their eyes and what goes in their ears, because it goes straight to their heart and soul. You can't unsee things, you can't unhear things, and you sure can't unfeel things. I can remember being grossed out, embarrassed, and ashamed, but I never told. It was beyond molestation. Never happened a second time with this particular person. Never talked about. Never. In fact, I would probably be called a liar. If I was to ever confront that person now. That's okay. I don't intend on it. I know what happened. And I know the profound effect it had on my life. People call it grooming now. You groom your dogs. I was sexualized. I get really sore. My body's broken, so I move around. Sorry about that. It's so young. So young. Whew. I don't ever want y'all to feel sorry for me. I thank and praise God that He got me through it. Because I didn't tell. I just lived with it. I tucked it down and stuffed it down. Like so many of you do. Don't. Again, I'm doing this to tell you there is freedom. I don't think I shared it with my husband for, I don't know, it might have just been in the last year or two, if that I just had to share, I guess, in preparation for all of this, because he was going to see it and he was going to know. So I would never want him to know that this way. So I moved on to more beatings, more hell. And there came a time where she got fed up. And she left him. And to this day, I will never, ever, ever understand, after she divorced him, why the middle sister went with him and the oldest and I went with her. I would have never, ever, ever let one of my kids go. I've never understood, never been told. Doesn't make any sense to me. There's something I didn't tell y'all on the last video. I did tell you the oldest was the biological mom's favorite. Oh, she adored her. The middle was his. And the biggest reason why, she has blonde hair and crystal blue eyes. Remember? That's the kind of woman he was engaged to. And that's what the little middle one looked like. But how do you divorce I don't know. I must have been 6, 7, no more than that. And they divorced. Our biological and my oldest and I stayed in Denver at the house that they had bought. It was a pretty little home, but I hated it. I could feel the demons. It was an upstairs, downstairs. And when you went down to one flight, you had to kind of make another turn to go down the second flight because the back door was there. There was this opening under the stairwell. And I could just feel them. I could tangibly feel them. But as a little girl, I couldn't understand what it was. I just knew that I know now, it was not good. And the oldest one stayed downstairs. And if I had to ever go downstairs to get anything, it was a quick trip. I flew downstairs and flew right back up with what I needed to do. A lot of horrors in that house. A house of horrors. Horrors. Not the other word. But he took the middle daughter, the blonde and blue-eyed. She was just a little girl. But he took her up to the mountains, and they lived up there. And I have to tell y'all, it changed my biological mom. For the good and for the bad. For the good that we didn't get beat anymore. She was happy. She was a lot more peaceful. But what I also didn't tell y'all yet was that my biological mom didn't know how to read or write. You could hand her something and she could not read it. Boy, I've got some stories. We're still in chapter 1, by the way. So the oldest was her brain. She read everything that she needed to have read to her. She'd write, and then the oldest daughter would write, and then my biological mom would sign it. We got away with a lot of stuff in school because we were bad. I would do things, the girls would do things, and we would tell her it said something else and she'd sign it. Bad grades. Back then, y'all, when we got grades in school, they were written in either black ink or blue ink. A, B, C, D, or an F. I got really good at turning them F's into B's because I would get beat. If it was anything less than a C, I got in big trouble for a C. But if it was below a C, I wasn't going home. But she couldn't read or write. She worked like a dog. She had her own cleaning business. She cleaned wealthy people's homes. She cleaned businesses. One was a billiards. They sold the most beautiful, upscale pool tables. I believe it was still on Sheridan Boulevard that she worked. I can't really remember that. But I remember after school going with her, and we would vacuum and dust the pool tables. Beautiful. The oldest sister worked really, really hard. She was her right hand, her left hand, her everything. And I give kudos to the oldest one for all that she had to do with a mom that could not read or write. She had a lot of responsibility. But in the time that they were divorced, he was still horrible. Oh my gosh, he would come to Denver and sneak around. And just evil, creepy. And one time, he hid in the closet. He got in the house and hid in the closet while she was at work. We were at school. Or with my grandmother or somebody, I don't know. But He waited till she got there. And it's kind of, that sick thing. You don't want to be with them, but you don't want nobody else to have them either. And nobody else was there. He was hiding in the closet waiting for her. And he beat her. He ripped her clothes off. He beat her. She got away. And if anybody that has been to Colorado, to Denver, that's from Denver, you know Sheridan Boulevard. It's one of the major thoroughways. It's lots of traffic. It was, so that's a lot of years ago. It was then. I can't imagine what it is now. But she jumped out of the window. She got out of the house. But she didn't have any clothes on. She was running down Sheridan Boulevard when a man stopped and wrapped her in a blanket he had in his car and took her to the hospital. We visited her a lot in the hospital. We visited her a lot. But he'd go back up to the mountain. It's really bizarre to have a biological dad that was present, sadly, and you don't know anything about him. I know he was adopted. This is just really strange, but it's the gospel truth. I have no reason to come on here and lie. I just pray to God it helps somebody. But I don't know who he is other than a monster. But I know it wasn't the grandparents that I knew that adopted him. My grandpa Frank was amazing. He was a good man. He did a lot of wrong things. My husband and I pick on each other. We kid each other. I said, my grandfather ran prostitutes. He said, well, my grandfather ran moonshine, so what a pair we make. And he did. In the bar in Colorado. We'd go visit him when we were little girls. And I would remember walking in Christmas time. It was it's still there, long, beautiful wood, bar top long. I don't know how many bar stools there was, but it was a lot. And one of my fondest memories, and I have a few, was that Grandma and Grandpa would have presents from when we walked in the door all the way down the bar for the three of us. Sometimes you wonder why they didn't step in. I do. I got stories about Braxton and Georgia, chapters down. You wonder why people that know what's going on don't stop it, don't step in. I would. I will. Don't mess with my grandbabies. Don't do it. Don't mess with my kids. But my kids can take care of themselves. They're all grown, but Braxton and Georgia, don't you mess with my grandbabies. My grandfather was a little man. He had a really, really bad limp. I don't exactly remember why. My grandmother was precious. It was his last wife, Grandma Ruth. He had been married a few times before, 2, 3. I don't know. But I do know that my biological was adopted by them. I only know that his birth mother died when he was, I want to say around 12. I don't know the exacts, but from what I remember being told, she died of cervical cancer. And from what I've been told, that's when he just turned hateful. It's a lot more than that. It has to be. Don't know nothing about his biological dad. I don't know. Don't know. Supposedly he has siblings. I don't know. So it's kind of weird, especially being in the South. Or not just in the South, but there's a lot of families they have big families, lots of genealogy, lots of answers to their questions. They know where they come from. And as far as her side, it's easy to see why she was the way she was because of her upbringing, and we'll get into that a lot more. So it was easy to see later on when God was preparing me in 2009 and 10 for the birthing of Out of the Mud ministry. I learned a lot about her. But getting back to them going through the divorce, like I said, he taunted her, he tormented her through the process of the divorce, beat her all the time. He even went after my biological grandmother and her sister, grown women. I'll never forget another incident in Denver. We went to my grandmother's house, and she was mean, scary, tall, black hair, creepy. She reminded me of a witch. Like, she just was creepy to me and mean, just as mean. No, meaner than my biological mom. So, you know, that thing that keeps going unless someone stands up and says, no, I'm not doing that no more. I'm not perfect. And I've made some bad mistakes. And that temper, ooh, But we were over there, and it was her mom, her, my two sisters, and I. And as funny as this sounds, my aunt that was the same age as my oldest sister, my biological mom, and her mother was pregnant at the same time about, and the oldest one and her sister, my biological mom's baby sister, they were the same age. And then my biological mom had another sister and a brother. But I remember all of them being, it was all of us females. There was not, I don't believe there was a male in the house. I don't remember. But he came over there, and he was in a rage and a fury. And he proceeded to start beating on all of them in the kitchen. And I remember my aunt, that is the oldest sister's age, those two and the middle sister and I went under the bed. We were all under the bed together, terrified to come out. And it was far up. It was like this apartment duplex, upstairs, downstairs. I don't know, but it was big in Denver. And again, she jumped out and landed on a picnic table. Ended up in the emergency room again. I think her nose had been broken twice. Probably more, but I do know her jaw was busted twice because she had to have it wired shut. I said we spent a lot of time visiting her in the hospital. But back to it just being the three of us. She worked extremely hard. As soon as we got out of school, I was little. I didn't do a whole lot. I did what I could. I vacuumed, and she'd give me the pledge and the cloth, and I'd do the best I could on them pool tables, and not to get it on the felt, because these were high dollar. No pressure. No pressure. But she was so different. She started dating, but it was like all she ever dated was old guys. I didn't understand it then. I just knew they were really, really nice, and they spoiled me and my oldest sister, and whenever the middle sister was around, rotten. We had some of the most beautiful clothes. We went some really cool places in Colorado, no really where exotic or whatever. She even moved in with one of them. One of them was just precious. Was old then, so I know he's long gone, but his name was Vince. I'll never forget him. He gave me his wife's, that had passed away, sewing machine. We'll get into that. Nothing but Jesus, y'all. Nothing but Jesus. That sewing machine. Mm. God used that to protect me, and I think to save my life, and I think to save what sense I have in my brain. But it was about 2 years, I would think, that it was, other than the ups and downs of him coming down from the mountain and causing trouble, then going back. But there was always an element of fear. It's like I could literally feel when he was around. But I was like, wow, she finally did it. She got away, even though she was with these men, I know now, sugar daddies. That's what we call them back then. Gold diggers, whatever you want to call it. I guess she just felt she had to do what she had to do. But you'll understand that later down in the book of why I believe it was just old men that could take care of her. But they took care of us. One time, this is just crazy. One of them said, I'm going to take the girls and let them pick out a tree for Christmas. And it was a 2-story house, like I told you, creepy. It's a beautiful little home, but it was demon possessed. Duh. He didn't just go get us a tree. He said, I want each one of you girls to pick out your own tree. We're like, what? What? We did. And one, I think, was in the dining room. One was in the front room. I don't know where tree number 3 was, but it was there somewhere in the house. Then he took us to the store. Not just any store. I'm pretty sure it was in the mall. Nice stuff. We got lights and decorations. We got to pick out all of our own for our tree. Y'all, I thought I had died and gone to heaven. Oh my gosh. This is amazing. We're free. Still totally and completely perplexed about where is the middle sister. Why did you let her go with him? I still don't understand it. To this day, I don't understand it. A lot of things run through your mind. Because remember, I told you, he didn't touch me that way. Thank God, but other people did. We'll get into that more on the next one. I fought all day to make this. In fact, right before I come on, I had no idea. I don't know what it is, but I have to know that there's enough hot water. I take as hot water that I can stand without scalding myself. Because number one, it feels good on my bones. It's not easy. I have to have it at least warm to clean the hair. My hair is a project. So is George's. I thank and praise God for my hair. I do. That's another story. I have to remember to tell you about my hair and why it's not just a biblical thing for me. It's what I went through with him over my hair. But I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this today or tomorrow or any day. So I went and took a shower. I was like, my son's gotten his shower. It's been more than enough time to heat up. I jump in the shower. It's warm. Just literally, I blow dried my hair because I was freezing. Literally before I started this video. And I really believe it was the enemy trying to push me to where, like, for 3 years that I've had this channel set up. 3+ years. October was 3 years that I've had this channel set up and ready to go. And because of the enemy speaking in my ear, I procrastinated and missed the boat in so many ways. But I got in the shower and it was warm, so I thought, okay, it's fixing to heat up. Just got my hair shampooed. And it's a process. And it went cold. And it's like in the 40s here right now. And when I say that water's cold, I was like, no, this isn't happening to me, because I will throw down if I run out of hot water. I sucked it up, got through my shower. Hopefully all the soap's out. If it's not, it isn't. And I know it's because I didn't want to do this. But I made a decision. I think the first video went up Friday. I don't know. But I said, God, I can't do this without you. I don't want to do it without you. I don't know how to do it without you. But I know this is what you've called me to do. You can find anything on the internet. I've never been on TikTok. I don't tweet. I mean, to me, it's a bird. I don't know nothing about no Twitter. What's the other one? Instagram. Never been on them. But I knew I had to do this. I have to do this. This is my book. I can't sit and write, y'all. My body won't let me. We'll get into that someday too, maybe. One thing quickly before I let you guys go, because I told you I don't want to have to go too far. Keep them too long is what I mean. I could talk and keep going and going and going until the phone runs dead, but I don't want to be disrespectful or dishonor your guys' time. But one thing I did notice in these videos, and I'm one of those people that if I hear myself, like on a recording, or I watch myself, I don't like my voice. I sure am not thrilled about my appearance. But I noticed something that I was like, oh my gosh, there it is. I have the Grand Canyon between my eyes. Look at this. That's from being angry and frustrated all the time with it. Oh, look at that. It's the Grand Canyon. And I thought, but if I walk around like this all the time, they're gone pretty much. But I can't do that. I'm just going to have it because I'm like always perplexed, always trying to figure things out. I'm trying to let this help me. And oh, how I pray it helps you. Because I know, again, that I know I am not the only one. And if you have or find out about anything happening to your little ones, just help them. There's so many people out there that things have happened to their children and they never knew it because their little ones didn't tell. If I could tell you anything to the little ones, speak up. There's somebody out there. There is a trusted grown-up out there that will help you. I have zero doubt. Help them. Let's help the little ones so they don't have to go through like we all do or have. I want to say again, if there's anybody out there that's contemplating doing anything permanent for a temporary situation, don't do it. You are loved. You are priceless. For all of those that are watching, I thank and praise God for you for walking this journey with me. If you have any questions, a little cutie that I've had in my life a long time, never met her, one of those, she said, put your email address so they can get in touch with you if they have to talk to you. Little genius. I'm going to do that when I title this and get it uploaded, whatever you call it. And I really do need to ask to subscribe and push the little bell icon thing, because then you'll know when I upload a video, if you want to. Like I said, I want to help the multitudes. But whatever God says and whoever God says, that's what I'm here for. It sure isn't for fame. This isn't a great way to be famous. I don't aspire to be famous. The only one that I want to impress and him to say, well done, my good and faithful servant, is Jesus. That's what I'm aiming for. It's his will, plan, and purpose for my life. I love each and every one of you. Please pray for me. I'm going to just keep pressing on as we are on the eve of a brand new year. Of course, I pray an epic year for everybody. But the reality is, we got to be prepared and get a little more thick-skinned, because it's going to be a bizarre year. But I'm not going to quit, surrender, give up, give out. It's not in me. I want to, sometimes every day. Sometimes I get so close to where I say, that's it. I'm going to just throw a backpack in the car. I'm going to drive till I run out of gas. That's the reality of it. But because I am head over heels in love with Jesus, my husband, my babies, and my grandbabies, I try to keep pushing through. And that's what I'm going to keep doing here. Because I want to help whoever is out there that is so racked with guilt, shame, pain, frustration, aggravation. There's a way out. There is life after this. There is. I love you. I praise God for you. I pray you have a blessed evening and an epic 2024. I love you. I don't know when I'll be back, but I'm going to try to keep them as regular as possible. Got a lot of chapters to go through. But thank you. Thank you for taking the time to be with me. Good night, y'all. I love you.